Welcome everybody, welcome to our module on your sacred space. We're going to be looking at how the energies in your environment are supporting you or not supporting you, and how to make them be more supportive to you. And I'm going to introduce you to some general principles of Feng Shui, and we'll get you aligned to your environment so that your home can be a manifesting hub for you. Now, very basically, Feng Shui literally means wind and water. And it started with ancient Chinese farmers who lived closely to the soil, and they really had to get to grips with the rhythms of the planet so that they would have prolific crops. And it was all about how they could position themselves for prolific crops that would bring wealth, and then the happiness would follow. And it is still all about good health, wealth, and happiness today. You can think of it a bit like acupuncture for your home. And if you're living in a space that's positive, uplifting, of course you're going to feel good. Whatever your challenges are in life, chances are it is going to manifest in your home in some way. So you're going to start to look at your home in a slightly different way. Our homes tell a story. And this is where Feng Shui can help to connect the dots. The key thing is to think of your house as a whole being in which one part is connected to another. And I'll talk through some of the principles about how you can approach it and give you some tips within the workbook. Now, why change our environment? Well, our bodies are the most manifested form of energy, and our health and well-being affect how we interact and manifest things, of course. And if our environment isn't great, this impacts our energy as well. Now, you already know that your aura expands from 20 up to 20 meters away from us. And if you think about it, then everything in this space is influencing your energy. So this is physical things, your furniture, things that are on the walls around you, and of course people as well. So it's important to change the energy in the environment so that anything that's not supporting you, like clutter, clothes, things that you've been tolerating and perhaps been tolerating for so long you don't even notice it anymore, that they're impacting your energy field. So we're clearing every layer of our aura to allow good things in, and we want to manifest things on a vibrational level. Then of course the space has to be a vibrational match for it. And if we're full of clutter, then we're not having the space to allow more things in. So the principle of the universal law of correspondence applies here, that what is within is outside and what is outside is within. So basically your outer world corresponds to your inner world. And this is where your home is a clear representation of that. Now, if you live in a shoebox and you have no space around you, you have no space to grow and expand. So we want to create some space. So we're going to clear the clutter and the micro leaks in our energy field. And if you think about the emotion of feeling overwhelmed, this of course includes all the stuff like technology, Wi-Fi, radio waves, microwaves, everything that's impacting our energetic field. And then to manage all of those parts and those components, we have emails, Facebook notifications, files on our computers. What's your desktop on your computer looking like? All of this adding stuff to our lives and preventing us from having space and being able to find things potentially in the most easy, joyous and effortless way. So think about clearing the environment at our mental and physical level. And you're going to be thinking about every single aspect in relation to this, right down to what you're listening to, what you're surrounding yourself with. What can you do to change the energy within your home? If you have, it's an old saying, if you have clutter in your rooms, you have a cluttered mind. So we're going to let go of the resistance that comes with all of that clutter. anywhere that we may be like just hanging on to things just in case, or holding on to things that have happened in the past, which are preventing new things coming in. We are becoming an excellent steward for our environment, and the aligned action you're going to be taking here is going to ramp up your manifesting. And of course, depending on how big your house is and how much clutter you may be holding on to is then going to depend on how long this next part will take. So this is, think of this like a project. And of course, as well, something that I really would recommend coming back to and doing quarterly, at least, in terms of building in that time and space so that you can keep on top of how you are taking care of your environment and taking care of your home, so that the energy that you are living in is nurturing and supporting you. Because our homes, as Melissa Michael says in the Love the Home You Have, she says our homes should inspire us to go out into the world to do great things, and they should welcome us back for refreshment. We give ourselves and others a gift when we create a home that inspires and even challenges us to be the people we want to be. And as a little aside, the home in this picture is the one that I am currently in process of manifesting. So I'm going to talk you through how we are going to ramp up your home's manifesting powers. And so I've called this section your aligned and manifesting home. And I suggest doing these in the following order because they build on each other. So the first thing is aligning to your space and clearing all the micro leaks, talking you through how to energy clear your room. And then I've got a little checklist that you can use to support you with finding things to do to support the frequencies in the different rooms in your home. So the first thing that we're going to do is looking at aligning to your space and clearing any micro leaks in your energy field. So it's time to Marie Kondo your house. I'm assuming everybody knows who Marie Kondo is. She had a TV series and she's written a book around decluttering, basically. She's absolutely gorgeous. And she had a series on Netflix a while back, which I highly recommend. So she's the queen of being able to organize things and create more space, and doing it in a way of really honoring the energy of the home. You want your space to feel expansive so that you have space to allow the new in, and to be an environment that supports your vibration and feeling of joy. So this is a really simple space clearing exercise. So the first thing, I invite you to walk around every room of your house with fresh eyes. Now this is really key. Like you've walked into it for the first time, because you'll start to see things that you've become oblivious to because you're in the environment all the time. So just look at what is in the environment, pick things up, take stock, consider, do you really need this anymore? Do you love this item? Does it fill you with joy? And if it doesn't, the next question is to think about, actually, does it go? Am I tolerating it? And a little tip here is, if you haven't used it in the last 2 years, then it probably is time to let it go. And definitely if you feel like it's creating that energy of clutter. And as you're doing this, you may find memories and emotions are bubbling up. So do you have any resistance or attachments that are bubbling up, creating resistance around letting something go? So just invite you to notice that, because we want to be able to be in that space of creating more space. And if you're thinking, no, I'm going to hold on to everything, then you may want to clear the resistance around doing this exercise. So my invitation to you as you're approaching this is to live in the energy of the question of, how can I create more space? And to approach it from that angle. And of course, you can muscle test on items to find out if they are energetically supporting you or draining you. So if you find an item is draining you, then you can choose to send it to charity or for recycling. And if you need to do a big declutter around your house, then you may find that setting aside a weekend to go for it is the best way to do it. And it feels amazing, I always find, after a big, good old declutter. So after you've cleared the space and plugged those micro leaks and those energy drains, I'm going to dive into the other influencing energies in your home. So I've already mentioned around it. Well, obviously everything's energy, some things we can see, some things we can't. We're surrounded by all the technology, the mobile phones, the Wi-Fi, the microwaves, and this is just normal in our modern day world. I also invite you to think about what's happened in each room. When you think about what has happened in each room, are there any arguments, tense relationships that are ongoing, good relationships? Because all of these energies will have soaked into your walls. And this, of course, includes, you know what's been going on whilst you're in the house yourself, but whilst you're out of the house, and then with other family members, and then, of course, the previous owners as well. And all of this is impacting our energy fields. And of course, what's going on with our neighbours' homes as well, if we're living in terraced houses, etc. So what we're going to do here is to consider different energy structures. And this is just a way of labeling different types of energy so that you can consciously become aware of them and to transform them and let them go. So you might have heard of things like energy vortexes, like big swirls of energy lines, ley lines are supportive energy, and Hartmann lines are negative energy. These can all be different amounts, of course, showing up in our houses, and some will be supportive and others will be draining. So what we're going to do is we're going to find out what's going on energetically in your home and get things in flow and start to change the energy around this. So what I recommend is drawing a rough floor, a plan of your house and a garden. If you're on a couple of floors, do one for each floor. And the easiest way to do this is to go and stand in each room, looking at the picture, and just explore muscle testing. So using the sway and asking, I've created a checklist of questions that you can use as you just find out what's going on energetically in each room, and noticing what memories come to mind as you're standing in each room as well. And then just make a note of them. So the questions that you can ask, so I would basically create a list to find out what's going on, and then to work your way through clearing them. So you could ask, do I have any energy vortexes or vortices in this room? You're going to get a yes or no, of course, as you muscle test this. Are they supportive or negative? And if you need to, you could discover, are they big? Are they little? Are they to do with an emotion? Are they to do with a situation? I know that we used to have, my sons kept arguing in the kitchen over a certain point in the kitchen. And I realized that there was an energy vortex of anger there. And of course, it kept attracting them back, and they'd get angry and have another argument there. And it was just creating this more and more energy of anger. So I cleared it. So I give you that as an example, so you can start to think about, okay, where am I having most of my arguments with my family members in the house? And then to see if this is an energy vortices there from that's contributing towards the tensions that are bubbling up. The other question you can ask is, do I have any energy lines in this room? Again, are they supportive? Are they negative? Do you need to know any more? Do you need to find out where they run, which side of the rooms they run from and to? And so what you're doing is you're making a note on your map of what's going on energetically in your house in terms of lines, vortices, and so on. And then once you've created your list of things to work on, you can release and align. So the wording would look something like this. So as you're releasing, let's say you're in your living room and you found some tense energy there, some negative energy. I'm ready to release these negative energy vortices in my living room. I release this from this energy, so the room's energy, on all levels at all points in time, and saying that at least 3 times. Breathing in for 4 and then breathing out for 4. And then once you've let that go, you can move on to the aligning and creating more of the energy that you want to support you in your home. And choose words that resonate for you. So it might be something like, I'm ready to allow an abundance of light-filled positive energy vortices that support me and my family. I allow this into this energy in all forms, on all levels, at all points in time. And then breathing in for 4 and breathing out for 4. And anchoring it in, saying it a couple more times. Now, the reason we want to do this is because energy is flowing in and out of your home. So as well as all the decluttering, what we're doing is we're making the energy flow in the house support you by clearing up the stagnant energy that is no longer serving you, or maybe attracting more things that you don't want to attract. And a top tip that I know from Pranic healing is to play OMS on a really low level throughout the day. It's a great way to release negative energies, as is, opening windows, as you are doing energy clearing as well. If you are a therapist and you're doing energy work in one part of your house, or perhaps even in your practice room, again, playing OMS on a low level throughout the day. It doesn't even have to be at a level that you can consciously hear. It will be clearing the room. And I've included a link here for a commissioned hours-long music with OMS playing for you. That is the energy clearing. And now I have included your home checklist, because you want to make sure everything that you have left is supporting you. And we want you to be really enjoying the space that you have. And you can do this in your office as well. Of course, you might be working from home, and hopefully you have an office space dedicated for that. So you can apply all these principles there. And these questions get you to really consider the general principle of Feng Shui. And of course, it's outside the scope of this program to discuss it in detail, because it's so specific to you. But I recommend, if you want to explore further, getting in touch with a Feng Shui practitioner. You may well find one in the community in the art of alignment. So I encourage you to go there if you would like to explore this in more detail. And that said, the image here I've shared with you is a bagua. And this is what all Feng Shui practitioners basically use, considering the home as a whole, is applying this map across your whole house, individual rooms in your house, right down to like the desk that you're working on. The idea being is you're considering putting things that are relevant to those areas within that section. So I wanted to share that here so you can start to think about how that might map onto your house, and start to consider what things you can put in place, whether it's plants, crystals, creating more light, mirrors, etc., that will support these different parts of your life, and to have your home supporting you in doing that. So, little checklist for your front door. Can you access your front door easily, and is it clean? Do you have plants outside the front door, or do you have bins outside the front door? So many people, and sometimes it's just the way. If you're living in a town, you have to have your bin by the front door, but energetically, what is that doing? Do you have a mirror opposite the front door as you walk in? Because it is reflecting the energy back out of the house, so it may need to be moved if you are doing that. Do your stairs come straight out onto the front door? And if they do, you may need a mirror at the top of your stairs. So these are just some tips to consider that help with the direction of energy as you're coming in and out of your house. The other one to think about is, do you have a toilet right by the front door? Again, you may need to move it, or what you can do is add some more plants. So some of these suggestions, you're going to be like, I cannot do that. My house does not allow for that. So I always think when I'm applying principles to my home, feng shui principles to my home, is okay, so what can I do? What is the best that I can do? And then I'm just going to go with that. Are the rooms light and airy? Are there any corners which have no light, so that you have a really open and expansive and welcoming entrance to your home? Then I wanted to share with you 2 symbols I have by my front entrance for increasing prosperity. The first one is the 3 of Wands from the Rider Tarot deck, which shows a calm and stately figure of a young man standing and staring out over the edge of a cliff. He's looking at his ships passing over the sea, and the meaning of this card activates or triggers enterprise, strength, establishment, effort, trade, commerce, and discovery. So these are his ships that are bringing him his merchandise as they sail towards him over the calm sea. And even when this card is reversed, the implications or meanings are purpose-driven, for it's spelling the end of financial troubles or a suspension or an end of adversity and disappointment. It's so cool. So what you can do is, if you're looking to bring more prosperity, then place this image anywhere by the entryway to your space and face the card so that the young man is looking out over your front door. So I have him, as I come into my front door, I can see him looking out on he's sort of tucked in a painting that I have on the wall. So he's looking out to the front door. And if you're hoping for a reversal of your current circumstances as you're calling in your fortunes, then you can place this image upside down anywhere where you're spending a good deal of time during the day. And then the other one I have above my doorway is this one, the I Ching Sheng hexagram. This symbol literally will allow all channels to now be free, as well as encourage all doors to fly open for your immediate and endless divinely designed supply. And it's a symbol of the I Ching Sheng hexagram, which translates roughly as attainment of desires and steady state of upward growth. So for me, I see it as a symbol for my desires are chasing me, which is a great affirmation that you can say to activate manifesting with ease. My desires are chasing me. My desires are chasing me. And it's considered a tremendously auspicious symbol because it's implying inevitable achievement, accomplishment, attainment, and a state of massive success. And it also implies that your professional path, as well as your path through all the days of your life, will now be cleared of all obstacles, challenges, so you can go on to actively achieve all your aspirations. And some other keywords that are associated with this hexagram are confidence, support, power, perseverance, and luck. So what you do is you place the symbol above the main entrance door immediately inside the house to use it to support you to energetically have that successful growth of prosperity and abundance. So I'm so excited for you to download these from the link that I've included, and to, if you choose, use them to support your environment energetically and your manifesting. Then we have your bed. This is what I want to talk about. So some things you can do to support you as you're sleeping. Do you have corners of walls pointing at you whilst you're sleeping or sitting in one place? So if you imagine a wall corner, what it's doing, it's creating like a cutting chi, like a knife. So if it's pointing at you whilst you're working or sleeping, it's affecting you whilst you're working or sleeping. Now, if you've got small rooms, it may not be possible to avoid corners of walls, but I wanted to bring this to your attention so that if you're able to, you can choose to move things around a bit. And of course, after your decluttering phase, you may have got rid of some furniture that you were just tolerating. And you can start to think about if the furniture you have left needs to be moved into a different location in the house or within those rooms. So if you're thinking about the Baguio position, Baguio map for each of the rooms, thinking about what furniture goes where, what will be supportive to that part of the room. Is your bed against a wall? Do you feel supported as you're sleeping? This is quite a common known tip in pop feng shui, I'd say, is ideally avoiding your bed being reflected in a mirror or a TV screen. So if at all possible, don't have a TV in your room. Then that will sort that one out. To avoid having your bed underneath a window, and again, ideally not under an exposed beam, because it's creating an energetic divide, or with if you've got your feet towards a door, again, because that's creating an energy drain because the energy is running out. So just consider, is it possible to make some adjustments and do what you can just to change the energy up a bit in the room? And of course, you can muscle test and ask if your head is sleeping in the right direction for your best sleep. So if you have any challenges sleeping, that is a great question to ask as well. So some relationship tips and prosperity tips of some things you can do to support your environment. So if you want a relationship, then everything in your bedroom needs to be in pairs. So nice pairs in your bedroom, as that's going to match the relationship. So whether it's pairs of pillows, pairs of sinks in the bathroom, or flannels, etc., to have two of everything to represent the relationship that is coming. Prosperity tip here, and this is a great way to attract more blessings by putting some crystals or gemstones under the bed. So what these stones are doing is acting as an invisible or a hidden talisman, and what they're doing is they're absorbing bad luck or negative energies, whilst also attracting wealth and prosperity. So using 3 clear quartz crystals, what you do is you create a triangle shape. You have the tip of the triangle pointing towards your head, and you place this piece under your bed, under where your heart lies when you're sleeping. And you can also choose to use other crystals within that. So I have 2 clear quartz crystals and then 1 piece of citrine. And this supports you and attracts more blessings to you whilst you're having a sleep. Okay, so then we have your desk. And this is where you can use the Baguio map to organize your desk in an energetically supportive way. So ideally you want a dedicated place for your work. Appreciate when people are working at home, sometimes that's not always possible. But there are some things you can do to have boundaries within that so that the workplace feels like it's a contained space for work and your energy is not leaking out into the kitchen area, and merging the boundaries there. So when you're thinking about your desk, here is some other questions you can ask yourself. So are you seated at your desk with your back against the wall, looking out into a space around you? It might seem counterintuitive energetically because you want to see everything around you, including what you want to create. Now, it might not be possible, of course, to do that. Do you have to have your back to a door? At the moment, I currently do. And what you can do is, if you want, is to have a little mirror in front of you so that you can see behind you. So this soothes your nervous system. Can you add a picture of a mountain behind you? Because mountains represent support. So just some little tips that you can do just to make the energy more supportive. Do you sit in a high back chair? Again, that's going to be very supportive to you. If you're wanting to allow more support energy in, and money is support, so this will allow more money in. Mentioned about mixing home energy and work energy. So are you working at the kitchen table? Do you have to? Is that just a habit that's happened? Can you create a space for your work? So is it that half the table is work and half the table is kitchen, or you put the work away when you are going to use it as a kitchen table? So how can you make it more clean and tidy? Do you need to have a plant, a crystal, a salt lamp, a picture? Have you got a space for your phone on the desk? Do you have any images or things that you want to create in your vision nearby? And the other thing I would say within relation to your desk is, how is your paperwork? And this is part of the decluttering, to go through and just clear out anything you don't want. Any junk mail, out of date notices, the piles of paper that you've put to one side because you're going to read them or you're going to go through them. And even if it's masses and you don't get to file it, just putting it away in storage somewhere so you get it away from your desk, because it's creating energetic micro leaks in your business. And here is a prosperity tip for your desk. I have this symbol positioned above my desk in the wealth section on my desk. So you can see here is the wealth section. So it's about there on the wall above my desk. And the idea is that symbols are speaking directly to your subconscious mind. So they're bypassing your conscious mind. And this symbol unlocks opportunities and abundance. The other key thing, of course, around which you'll have on your desk is your work tools like your computer, phones, tablets, and so on. So what are you tolerating here? Is your computer working properly? Does it load quickly when you're opening it up? Does it connect with the internet well? Are all your computer files in order so you can find everything easily? Or do you have a lot of files on your computer and your storage systems are completely overloaded? If so, what can you delete? We want to create more space, more space. So going through your inbox, deleting old emails. The Unroll app, if you don't know it, is a fabulous way to unroll on subscriptions really, really quickly. Start organizing your files, deleting old files, rearranging those that you can, so that they can be found easily, because this is going to actually save you so much time and reduce your stress, because you're going to be able to go to things and you'll know exactly where everything is. It's going to create a real sense of calm. Clearing photographs off your main hard drive is going to help speed up your computer as well. So you may well, if you can add them to a storage device or an external hard drive, that will help. This is a game changer for me. And I've done this for years now, is switching off all notifications on social media that come into my email inbox or are going onto my phone, so I don't get interrupted with ping. I do this with text messages as well, so that I choose when I'm going to go and look at what I'm going to take action on, rather than hearing pings going off and being notified about whatever's coming up. The other benefit of getting your photos off your phone and the computer and onto a hard drive device is to keep them safe. So not only is it deleting, the ones that were mistake photographs because they're taking up space, but being able to find the ones that you absolutely adore and you really want to keep, and keeping them in a safe space. Again, deleting apps you don't use, deleting old contacts on your phone that you haven't spoken to for millions of years. Same goes with social media contacts. Do you know everybody on your social media list? And if you're using your social media for a business, that may well be true that you don't actually know people on your list. And so it's finding, having a connection with them and building a relationship with them and seeing, are they someone that you are friends with, you want in your inner circle? Are they family members? Are they potential colleagues that you can be a power referral partner with? Or are they a potential client? Or are they just a lovely person that you want to be connected with? Or do you have no idea? And if it's no idea, or they're not aligned for you, is then to delete them from your list. It will have an impact on your reach in your social media marketing as well, because you want to have as many people as engaged on your personal profile, for example, as possible. So if people aren't seeing stuff and aren't interested and you're not chatting to them, then it is another micro leak. And the same goes with, do you have any email addresses? So these are your ones that you no longer use. So then just close the accounts. It's amazing how many email addresses we pick up along the way. I'm sure I probably need to go back and do that one again myself, actually thinking about it. This is the thing is, I love being able to go through this periodically, at least quarterly, because I'm always finding things that have crept in, and it just feels so good having a good old clear out. Some other top tips. Does your email go to your mobile phone and your inbox? So are you deleting twice, or can you just do it once? Is that synchronized, basically? And how many emails do you have unread in your inbox? Because every time you're looking at it, it's draining your energy. It's a micro leak. So I'm really good. I have got a really good system. I have everything coming into my inbox. If it takes me 2 seconds, to read an action, I do it there and then. When I first open them up in the morning, if it's going to take me a little bit longer to action, I pop it in my action box, and then I do my action box a couple of times a week, and then everything else goes through. And then I unsubscribe from stuff all the time. Do you need a grounding mat underneath your desk where you work at your computer? How is your energy? Because so often, particularly if we're on the computer for long periods of time, we can start to feel kind of dizzy, fuzzy, ungrounded by the end of the day. So maybe having something supportive like a grounding mat's going to support you there. How much time do you spend? And I use the word addicted here, looking at your phone, because it is like a habit. Have you noticed that just at particular times of the day, you find yourself picking up your phone and then going down a scroll hole? So if that is you, what some of the things you can do here to help break the habit, and I do this when I'm on holidays, I take off all social media apps off my phone. So basically you want to make your phone really boring. And then, because you can put the apps back on again, and then when you want to, and then that just helps you to break the habit so that you're only going to go on social media when you're at your computer. So you start to build in time. Then that means then you're not merging those energy boundaries of when you're on social media, finding yourself down a scroll hole that you weren't expecting to go on, and having lost half an hour of your life. Being able to be really intentional about how you use your phone and the computer. And within that, as you're considering your habits, is to think about, when are you giving your attention to your phone? What's happening? Is there anything that you're avoiding? Because the phones can be a great distraction for us, and we don't realize actually we're avoiding doing something. And do you sleep with your mobile phone or any other devices in your room? And I would highly recommend getting them out if you can. I know a lot of us have mobile phones as alarms, etc., etc. So the invitation is to get it out of your bedroom so that you haven't got those frequencies interfering with you as you're sleeping. And the other one that you can add in is an earthing plug in your house, so again, to ground the electromagnetic field. And you can Google these to find out more about them. Right, let's dive into the kitchen. Now, the kitchen is often called the room of abundance in Feng Shui because it's where we're nourished and nurtured. So do you feel this way when you're in your kitchen? What can you change to create the feeling of nourishment and nurture in your kitchen? And a prosperity tip here, when it might seem like an obvious one, because of course you clean your stove, because you clean your kitchen. But according to Feng Shui, the energy of food that you eat affects not only your health on a physical level, but it also can determine a shift in your fortunes and your luck, particularly where your prosperity prospects are concerned. And so what this means is the stove is the single most important factor in the kitchen, since this is where you're cooking physically and energetically, creating the nourishment and health. And in Eastern traditions, the stove also relates to money. So this is why some schools of Feng Shui call the stove the home's money or energy generator. So the place where the energy of the cook, the food and the fire all coming together to create, the sustenance and the strength to earn your income and allow money opportunities to enter in your life. So we want to take care of this part of our house and to keep it clean and to keep it nourished. And there's some fun things you can do here as well. Here's a cooking tip. And this builds on very much like when we were doing the amplifying your attraction with water. So using the herbs basil, dill and parsley, and chopping them up and blessing them with your desires over the herbs. And then you sprinkle them onto your food and think of it like a magical garnish that is going to increase your bank balance. And the reason for these herbs, and I love tuning into the wisdom of what has been passed down from generations in relation to this, is basil has really long history. And ancient legend tells us that basil, when carried in the pocket, brings wealth and wisdom to the wearer. And it also is used to attract customers to a place of business by placing some on the cash register or even by the entry door. So some other tips you can do there. Dill Due to the sheer number of seeds the plant produces is often associated with money rituals and rites. And parsley is used in purifications that promise an immediate end to misfortune. So that's a really lovely combination of basil, dill and parsley to sprinkle onto your food so that you are eating, you're manifesting. And then the last prosperity tip for your kitchen is having 3 fresh, healthy rosemary plants on a windowsill or somewhere positioned in a natural sunlight in your kitchen. And this is specific for women. The 3 rosemary plants bringing financial freedom and a new opening of financial opportunities. So I wanted to share that one there. So where you have a windowsill in your kitchen is to pop 3 beautiful rosemary plants there to support your home energetically and enable your home to be supporting you in your alignment and manifesting. And the aligned action for you is to hold yourself accountable. Post 3 aligned actions that you will be taking or you have taken to improve your environment in the Facebook group. Let us celebrate with you and look forward to seeing your results and your celebrations. Sending you lots and lots of love.